Hello again, Patrick.
Hello, sir. We're
Even though
back.
we're back, we're back. Um, yeah, so here we are once again. And we're going to chat about, well, you've got a bit of a presentation, haven't you? Things you've been working on. So let's get into it.
Yes, sir. I got a bit of a presentation I want to present. And it's very much in its draft form. I've not presented it yet, so this is a little bit of a rehearsal, a bit of a dress rehearsal for me. But yeah, I thought we may as well record it and put it on YouTube because people will find it very beneficial, hopefully.
Hmm.
Um, Let me see if it will allow me to share my screen. Can you let me share my screen,
Or
please?
do I need to let you?
Yeah,
Hang
yeah.
on a minute. Uh, is it that one?
Let's have a look. Yeah, we're good. So basically, just give you an idea, mate, of it. It's the premise was to simplify psychology, right? So I've kind of started to rebrand psychology as soulology, all right? And you get that from the presentation. So I'll share my screen and crack on with it. And then yeah, if you've got any like questions or anything
Mm.
springs to mind, like just ask me and interrupt me. It's cool. Um, but here it is. Let's go.
Oh, look
Right,
at the
so
little
this is
soul.
soulology. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's been so hard for me to not get into like etymology and be like, because sol obviously is sun, like solar and whatever.
Mm.
So the sun is the soul, and I'm like, right, don't dive too deep, Pat.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is soulology. Okay, it's psychology simplified. All right, the art of practicing being the peace that you are. I don't know. That might be my little tagline for a business that I end up
Mm.
making with it. Okay, so what is soulology? Yeah? It's an attempt to rebrand and simplify what we know today as psychology. Although the word psyche does indeed mean soul, the word holds a very different frequency nowadays in the collective, right? Did you know that? Psyche was soul? That's
I
what it
didn't
means.
actually. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
it was to do with like sort of the brain.
Right. It's not. The root of it is psyche means soul.
Right.
And this is my point. This is why I'm like, right, I need to rebrand this because
Mm.
we think of brain, right? When we think of psychology.
Mm.
So the word psychology no longer represents its true meaning, right? Outdated.
Mm.
Okay. At worst, when we hear the word psychology, we think of a person in a white coat ready to diagnose us with a mental illness and fill us with pills. Sounds like you need a happy pill.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that little meme. At best, we think of going to speak to a counselor who will speak to us about our childhood to help us understand why we're so fucked up.
Mm.
Why are you sad, bro? Yeah, I'm glad you got a giggle. Modern psychology is very complicated and overlooks the aspect of soul slash spirituality. God is dead. You must know that famous Nietzsche quote, right? God is
Mm.
dead. And I think this is like a Christian meme. Someone's like, Nietzsche is dead and God. So
Mm.
I find quite funny. All right. But that's the society we're living in, right? Materialism, scientism, the religion of science is
Mm.
the top dog. And at the moment, psychology kind of falls under that. Um, Soulology includes the deeper dimension of our being and seeks to understand reality through that perspective. Psychology is complex. Soulology is simple. Look at that. Complex and simple. Soulology is made up of three basic components, okay? So duality, reality is two. Polarity, reality is bad and good.
Mm.
And then balance, reality is one. So I'll just be going through these three, keeping it very, very simple and basic. So, what is the soul? So, we could say the soul is the eyes through which the spirit sees. It is that which connects us all, like an individual sun ray that is connected to the one sun. Some people like to call God or that one sun the oversoul. Um, but essentially, the soul, there is only one, and we are individual expressions of that. When we begin to view life through the same lens as the soul, life goes from being very complicated and chaotic to synchronistic and ordered.
Mm.
Basically, reality becomes more harmonious and makes a lot more fucking sense. Okay. We could say the soul views reality through the lens of energy instead of materialism. All right, so we've got duality, difference, polarity, which is judging, and balance, which is a loving indifference.
Mm,
Okay. So let's look at duality and feel free to chime in, mate, if you want, if you think of any more examples, right? So we live in, well, we experience reality through duality, okay? You got the man and the woman, yeah,
mm,
male and female. You wouldn't know what a male is without female, and vice versa. Big and small, yes and no, on and off. Yeah, these are basic, like, that's duality, right?
yeah.
It's how we perceive. It's the divine matrix, baby. Right? Ones and zeros. That's what it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
if you want to dive into that sort of stuff. So it's ones and zeros. Yeah. Duality is not something wrong we need to get rid of. It is just how a singular consciousness can experience itself. You can't know what a man is without a woman, as I said, and there would be no on without an off. Right?
Mm,
That's duality. Very, very simple. Without duality, there would be no experience. Without sour, there would be no sweet, which would mean no cake. Okay? Bad news for cake lovers. Duality is as it is. We only run into problems when we forget that duality is just how it is. We suffer when we don't accept this reality of difference. So, how does duality turn into polarity? It changes into polarity by us getting emotionally attached to one side. So, as we get emotionally attached to one side, this polarizes the other. This is what I have termed polarity.
mm,
It is when a duality becomes charged with the electric energy, which we experience as attachment. Okay. So polarity then. This is when difference or duality becomes bad and good. In other words, it is when we judge reality.
mm,
So discernment versus judgment. So discernment is the ability to see the difference but have no attachment to it. Yeah.
mm,
There's a man, there's a woman. Okay, they're different. Cool. Judgment is the mental energy that puts labels onto reality. Is an example of this happening. So we've got a coin here. So a coin has heads and tails. And if we aren't emotionally attached, someone could flip that coin and we'd be completely unfazed, right? Completely unbothered by whichever side it landed on. Yeah. Why? Because we're at peace with the duality of the coin. As we know, that's what a coin is. It is heads and tails. That is coin. However, if we had 10K, £10,000, double or nothing on a coin cost of said coin, we would be emotionally invested. So if we put 10K on heads, we would polarize the heads, making it our angel, which in effect demonizes the tails. Look at that lovely little graphic there. Heads,
mm,
yeah, becomes good. Tails, oh, that's bad.
mm,
So we have polarized the duality, ready to either jump for joy when it lands on heads or break down and cry if it lands on tails. Now, as I was showing this presentation for my brother, he said, "Wouldn't it be funnier if you said jump for joy when it lands on heads or jump out a window when it lands on tails?" And I was like, yeah, no, that is funnier to be fair. But I'm like, if I'm presenting this to someone and they've been through, I don't know, someone's committed suicide or whatever,
mm.
I won't get into it. Um, okay, but that's clear, right?
Yeah.
Happy if it lands on heads because you've polarized it as good.
Mm,
Sad if it lands on tails, polarize that as bad. Yeah. So this is the difference between duality and polarity. Heads becomes the hero and tails becomes the villain. At present, both collectively and individually, we are very polarized. Oh, yes, we are.
mm,
So I like using the word polarized because it is the current political system, yeah, political system that we are using in this polarized world. Yeah. The polling station, we go to the
mm,
polls. So we go to vote, which is voltage. So we bring our charge, yeah, we bring our judgment and our charges to the poll station.
mm.
And in our beautiful democracy that we have, it's normally a choice between one or two. It's the
Yeah.
red or the blue team. And so politics is certainly a very polarized topic for a lot of normal people.
Mm,
Um, and it's quite topical because we've got a lot of elections coming up. Elections are like electricity. Like
Mm.
the etymology is so cool.
Yeah.
Right. So this is duality. Yeah. We got the blues and the reds. Cool. And this is polarity. I
Mm.
hope you like this one. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
see the difference? Duality, cool, no problem. Polarity, you
Mm.
got the triggered liberal, and you got the triggered Republican, hillbilly, whatever it is. Yeah. Sports is also very polarized.
Mm.
Red fan loves the red team. Okay. Because of
Yeah.
that love, and yes, I love the red team. By default, hates the blue team. Yeah. So you see how one polarizes the other.
Mm.
Um, so what does polarization look like on a personal level? So we've seen a couple of examples with politics, football, on a collective level. On a personal level, what does that look like then? Well, polarization on a personal level is judgment of our emotions. Okay. So this is how we're going to redream this stream and make it a little bit more balanced and divine. Well, it's already divine, but a little bit more, balanced and less
Mm.
polarized by rebalancing our emotions. Okay. From a young age, we are taught that some emotions are good. Yeah. You look at this and you think, good, these are good emotions. Happy, good, thrill, good. Yeah. These are the ones we
Mm.
go towards. We love these. We love being jubilant. We love being excited, euphoric, energized. We love these emotions. They're the good ones. The bad ones, and this graphic's really interesting because when I was looking up uh, bad emotions or negative emotions, I found 5 ways to protect yourself from negative emotions. Now, that's pretty telling, is it not? That they have, how do I protect myself from, oh, got this sadness? Do you know, how do I protect myself
Mm.
from that? I don't want the sadness. Do you know? Do you see how we're polarizing the
Mm.
sadness before? The poor sadness just wants to be sad, do you know?
Mm.
But we're polarizing it and we're judging it, which then obviously makes us suffer. So with emotions, the duality of them can be seen as positive and negative. But this is just a scientific term describing the energy, right? Positive and negative is just scientific. Here's a couple of graphics explaining that. Okay. So you got like the long waves here. So these like would be the negative emotions. And this is also why we perceive time as going slowly. It's because we're vibrating on a low frequency, the long like radio waves, as they've
Mm.
put in this chart. Yeah. It's when I'm like doing a language lesson and it's like boring, which isn't often, but sometimes with the English lessons, I'm like, oh, my student's not giving me much energy back. I'm like, oh, I'm looking at the clock every 5 minutes, like, come on. It's because I'm vibrating on a low frequency.
Mm.
Yeah. When I have like a Spanish lesson or whatever, I'm in flow state. I'm right up here, you know, and it
Mm.
goes like that. And the student will often say, oh my God, is that it? Has that been, 40 minutes? I'm
Mm.
like, yeah. And they're like, wow. It's because you're vibrating on a high frequency.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not good or bad. These are just low and high.
Mm.
Okay. So little recap. So duality, you got positive emotion, high frequency, negative emotion, low frequency. Polarity then is positive emotion, good, negative emotion, bad, boo. We don't want negative emotions. No. Yeah. So when we judge the negative emotions as bad, we polarize our own energy fields. Okay. Making us very triggerable and leading us to attract very polarized experiences. I've not like dived deep into this about like, law of attraction and how it works and how we get have our own shadows reflected back to us and stuff, but you can appreciate that, right? Your energy attracts
Mm.
that which it is. Uh, Hence why me and Ian having these conversations every other week because we're on a similar vibe, you know. So the thinking mind might say, of course I don't want to attract these bad situations, but our energy field says very differently. So,
Mm.
so this is the difference between seeing it through the perspective of the thinking mind, which is I didn't want to use the term ego because even that's got a bit of polarization to it.
Mm.
So yeah, the thinking mind, the ego, I don't want to attract this situation, but the soul, from the soul's perspective, it's absolutely you do, and also you have no choice because
Mm.
that is what's running the show. So it cannot help but attract that which it is an energetic match to. It's science. So if we would like to become more peaceful and ultimately know ourselves to be that peace, we have to begin to depolarize our energy field. When we balance these energies by depolarizing them, we ourselves become more balanced and our experience of life becomes more peaceful. Yeah, go from being Phil Mitchell to Eckhart Tolle. Holy,
Overnight,
I've used
just like that.
exactly one session with me, guys. You go from Phil Mitchell to Eckhart Tolle. Exactly. That's the process. Yeah. In between this and this is a lot of time, which is needed. Actually, you come to understand, as I'm sure you have, Ian, like time is actually it's a really big period of grace
Mm,
because these are very radical, different ways of seeing the world, and your reality shifts a lot when
mm,
you depolarize your own energy field and vibrate on a higher frequency. Um, so to summarize, then, duality is just how we experience this reality, right? Polarity is the duality charged with that emotion.
mm,
Okay, cool. So the third component of soulology is this balance. Balancing is the process of depolarization. Going back to the analogy of football, it is when we come back from one side of the seesaw, okay, and we just sit in the middle
mm.
and say what my sister used to say to me when I used to get upset about Arsenal losing. It's just a game because she was sat here, you know. I wasn't. I was polarized.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
what are you talking about? We've just lost our unbeaten run. Reality always seeks to come into balance, for balance is its natural state. We can see this with like homeostasis, you know, with our bodies. Reality it wants to balance. Okay. So on a deeper level, like you're not actually doing anything. It's just the universe is just recalibrating, balancing itself. Um, so the energies want to balance themselves, and this is why we get pushed into suffering. Yeah, this is why suffering is not enjoyable. It's because it's not a how could you say it? It's not like it's just like the balancing. It's kind of like alarm bells. I think I illustrated this. Yeah. So any pain, be it emotional or physical, is an alarm bell going off telling us that something is not balanced.
Mm,
Yeah, something's not balanced. If someone says something to you and you get triggered and upset, and you go into your mind and you start projecting things about them being bad or whatever they said, it's just because something in your energy field is not balanced.
mm,
So when duality becomes polarized, right? This is a quite a nice example. I really actually enjoy watching these like little debate things that they have, like men's rights. Yeah, that's one
mm,
side. You wouldn't have a men's right without feminism, do you know?
mm.
That's like we've seen feminism get really big, like that polarization of yeah, women's power. You know, it's gone past the point of balance of
Mm,
like having equal rights to be able to vote or whatever. To actually, we want to be like men. We want to be better than men. We would. That's clearly going to polarize another side, which is the men's rights
yeah,
movements. Okay.
yeah.
Um. So how do we balance it? We can be balanced by the healing of the inner child. This
Mm,
is the healing one. Um, So a balanced being is peaceful, calm, accepting, joyful, childlike, not childish.
mm,
Yeah, not polarized, but childlike when you see a child just playing and just they just love and embrace reality.
mm,
You know, they love the difference of reality. That's childlike. And obviously, okay, there's just some images to illustrate that. Got the sun in there as well. And this picture I found like just randomly on the internet. But like he's really sweet because he's got like two little figures, you know,
mm,
representing the duality, and he's like they're kind of coming together and hugging. That's quite sweet. So when we depolarize our energies and heal the inner child, life becomes a lot less serious and a lot more like play. As Plato, aptly named, uh, said, life must be lived as a play. If we are done with suffering and we are ready to live a more peaceful existence, we can do so by doing the balancing and healing. The good news is that this conscious balancing can be done using an abundance of techniques because as you and I, Ian, have talked about, like it's like many paths, one destination, you know. That's the really beautiful thing about truth is that you can go at it from any angle you like. So as much as there are infinite ways you can get lost and forget yourself, you can also come back
Yeah,
infinite amount of paths, which is really, really awesome, I think. So as balance is the truth of what we are, there are an infinite amount of paths which all lead us to that one destination. So in the next presentations, this is my follow-up one of this one. We'll be looking at how to do that basically. So my next presentation is going to be about shadow work, inner child healing, and obviously my healing modalities that I use with myself that I've been
mm,
using over the past, well, however many years, my
yeah,
life, 30 years of balancing, and what I use with my clients as well. So
yeah.
there we are. That's Soulology. Any questions,
That's fabulous.
comments?
That's really,
Yeah?
really good. Yeah. It's very easy to understand. It's very self-explanatory. So I think anyone will be able to get that. You know, if anyone that comes across this channel and wonders, like, right, I really want to get onto this, like, healing thing. A lot of people were looking at it. A lot of people getting into it. You know, but where do I start? What's it all about? So I think that really helps to opens open people's awareness to um, almost like you say that you got the science and you got the soul, the soulology, bringing it together. You're harnessing some of the the science of how the emotions and the body and everything works and coordinates and things, but also bringing the spiritual aspect into it, which like we've said before on chat, you know, psychology doesn't really incorporate any of that stuff into its practices. Um, but I think, well, I'm hoping over time maybe there will be a crossover eventually because you can quite plainly see that there is massive crossovers between um, psychology and spirituality. There's huge sections that do connect, and um, even in other aspects, you know, of science, you know, with physics and things like that, that there is so many crossovers to do that do take us into the realms of spirituality. But no, I really, really love that. Um, really nice presentation. Like I say, easy, good pictures because it keeps people engaged with the pictures as well and the images because not everybody wants to just read lots of
No,
text.
no.
So yeah,
Yeah.
well done you.
Hey, cheers, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Mm.
That's cool. I really wanted to, yeah, like, yeah, 'cause we talk about them in the psychology, not having those like more spiritual elements and whether they're being like a crossover and stuff. And even that, like the crossover, I'm just like, it's too complicated. I was like, I
Yeah.
need to just rebrand this,
Mm.
simplify it.
Yeah.
Because the truth is very, very simple,
Mm.
you know. The truth
Yeah.
is simple. It's like the heart. It will give you a yes or a no, you know. It
Mm.
will give you
Yeah.
yes or no. The mind will give you, well,
Yeah.
maybe if I did this or I should do this, oh man, I should have done that. Why didn't I do, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
if I'd have done that, do you know what I mean? The mind is so complex.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful creative tool is the mind.
Mm.
But you have to sit in the harness of the heart, you know, your awareness has to be in the heart center for you to actually start to use the mind and its ability to work within duality, and
Mm.
because that's all the mind works as, you know, it is part of the divine matrix.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
ones and zeros, you know,
Yeah.
on and
Yeah.
off. It doesn't do nuance, it doesn't do like everything and acceptance. So that which does is the heart,
Mm.
you know, and it's the soul, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Definitely.
simple.
Yeah. It's beautifully explained. Um, I don't really have any questions because I just found it really enjoyable and really easy to understand. Um,
Perfect. That's what I did.
yeah, so I think that's credit to you really, just for being able to present it so easily and clearly, and the way it's been written and put together in such a great way and a great format.
Nice one.
Mm.
I'll plug my services because I'm gonna start. At the moment, I'm just running my laid back languages business, and I'm gonna eventually get other people on board with me, like other tutors, like train them up how to like teach languages properly,
mm,
get that up and running, and then I'm gonna move into doing more of my Dharma work and
yeah,
doing like the healing, working with people one to one. So yeah, if anyone's watched that and it's resonated with them and they want to do some one to one psychotherapy with me,
mm,
shadow work, however you kind of perceive it, inner balancing healing, because
mm,
that's the other thing, like working with a practitioner or someone else who can hold a certain frequency for you, that frequency of unconditional love. And we're
mm,
taught about this in counseling training, to be fair. Like we call it an unconditional positive regard,
mm,
you know, which is a very sweet way of saying it. It's unconditional love,
mm,
neutral balance, just an okayness. Yeah, if you want to work with someone who can hold that field for you while you kind of speak and talk things through and whatnot, and
mm,
that's the process of starting to balance, you know.
yeah,
You got to look at the stories first. What's the
mm,
mind kind of saying? Why are you suffering? You this is the other thing in it with like the heart or with love, like it doesn't neglect anything. It's
mm,
I'm not saying like you shouldn't go to a psychotherapist and you know speak about something that happened to you or whatever. If you need to meet the mind where it's at, you
mm,
know, the difference with the soulology model is that it's just saying, okay, you meet them there, but actually, you know, we'll come deeper, you know, we'll come into the body and properly rebalance those energies so that then you don't end up either being in therapy for years and years and years, which a lot of people
mm,
can be. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Like some people do need that,
mm,
like the traumas and things people go through. They need to process a lot and do a lot of
yeah,
balancing. But I don't know. I kind of hope this soulology promotes a bit more independence with it as well, you know.
mm,
So once you understand the process of what's happening, how the energies rebalance, you can start to take it away, do it yourself, as I've
mm,
done, as Ian's done as well. Like, um, you know, do your own like shadow work. But if you want like help with that process, yeah, just email. I'll leave the email. It's in the description box. Just give me an email. I think
mm,
it's what's my email? patrickcreightontherapy@gmail.com. I think it is. I'll double check, but yeah, I'll leave it
yeah.
in the
We'll
description
put all the
box.
links of our stuff below in in the
Yeah,
descriptions box if you need to get in touch with us for anything.
yeah, and then
You know,
Reiki. Same.
yeah,
It's the same game in it. Different
yeah.
paths. Just
Different paths, same game. Yeah, because
yeah,
we've both
yeah,
been
yeah.
down the same avenues, same stuff, but we've all reached uh, the same space that we're at now, the same frequency that we're in. You know, and like you say, that's why we connect so well because we're in this a similar vibrational field as each other.
Mm,
And that's basically what it is. That is what it is all about. The healing game is just about finding that vibrational frequency and eventually um, as the practitioner, like you said earlier, is holding that space for you. They're holding that space of a
mm,
higher vibration to allow you to come up momentarily to that vibration. And that's where a lot of the healing will take place and a lot of stuff can be expressed, the emotions can be released, and you feel more open and able to talk about things. Whereas if you remain in a low vibration, you will just keep it stuck and you will keep it you just you want to keep the lid on top of it rather than let it out. And that's like what I say in some of my videos where I talk about like Reiki and healing and meditation and all the various tools that I've used is that the biggest part about it is taking it away with you and using those aspects in your everyday life, whatever you learn, however you can,
mm.
because just going to see someone and speak to someone once a fortnight, once a month, whatever the frequency might be, you also need to have that time for you every day and show up for yourself every single day as well and create that discipline. Um, and like we were saying just before off cam, weren't we? Like about it's just the same as going to the gym or
Yeah.
learning an instrument or learning to do something. They don't call it a practice for a reason. You know, they call it a practice for a reason because you're practicing a way of being, and
Mm.
that's what it is. And it's exactly the same with the various therapy processes that we go down.
Definitely. And because you've been practicing like the opposite for however many years, like
Mm,
20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70
mm,
years, obviously it's going to take some time. It doesn't take that long to like rebalance because balance
Yeah.
is the nature of reality. You know,
Mm.
it is seeking balance, so it
Yeah.
happens quicker, but it's not like an overnight process. And
Mm.
as we I think I've mentioned before, like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
wouldn't once you start doing this work, you wouldn't wish it to be an overnight process either because
Yeah.
it will put you in you'll be, you know, feeling like lost. You won't know who you are for like periods.
Mm.
But ultimately that losing, you know, that losing of yourself is actually when you're finding that which you truly are.
Mm.
And that which you truly are is a much nicer experience than
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
thought you
Yeah.
were previously, you know. You don't lose anything
Yeah.
really when you do this work. You just become more of that which you are. So
Yeah. Absolutely. Beautiful. Beautifully
nice
put.
one.
Well, thank you very much, Patrick. So I think we'll end the video here. We'll chat a little bit off cam before you go. But
Yeah.
thanks for sharing that. It was wonderful.
Cheers, Ian. Appreciate the feedback, man. Much
Do
love, bro.
like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for
See you
now.
next time. Ciao.